The silent collapse. Why do people with deep insight, the ones who understand others without even trying, so often feel powerless in the real world? Why do those with quiet intelligence and emotional depth lose to loud, shallow, aggressive personalities? It feels unfair, but it isn't random. It's a pattern, and Machiavelli saw it long before you and I ever questioned it. He warned that the person who isolates themselves to stay pure ends up alone, exposed, and easy to crush. You may think your silence keeps you safe, that staying away from drama, games, and power struggles makes you stronger. But here's the cold truth. In a world driven by noise, silence is not strength, it's invisibility. And no one protects the invisible. No one follows them. No one fears them. You might understand more than anyone in the room, but if you don't speak, act, or show presence, it doesn't matter. This world doesn't reward insight. It rewards impact. And impact only happens when you stop hiding and start using what? That's the warning. That's the wake-up call. The gift of deep understanding is powerful, but only if you use it. The intuitive introvert, brilliant but vulnerable. The intuitive introvert is one of the most powerful personalities in the world, but most of the time that power stays locked inside. You notice things others miss. You see through lies, understand unspoken emotions, and predict outcomes long before anyone else realizes what's happening. While others speak, you listen. While others rush, you reflect. But here's the problem. You think that understanding is enough, that if you see the truth, you've already won. But you haven't. You're just standing on the sidelines of a game that's already in motion. Machiavelli would call this a fatal mistake. He believed that knowledge without action is useless, and in some cases, even dangerous. You might feel strong for staying silent, for avoiding conflict, for not playing the game. But in doing so, you've made yourself an easy target. You don't make enemies, but you don't make allies either. And in a world ruled by alliances, influence, and presence, that makes you vulnerable. Your insight is real. Your vision is rare. But unless you step forward and use it, the world will move on without you. And it will be led by people far less capable but far more visible. The fatal flaw. Isolation. You think staying alone keeps you safe, that if you don't rely on anyone, no one can betray you. And on the surface, that seems smart. But Machiavelli would call this a dangerous illusion. Because in the real world, whether it's politics, business, or even social life, power flows through people. It moves through alliances, conversations, shared goals, even temporary friendships. When you isolate yourself, you lose all of that. You may think you're protecting your peace, but you're also cutting yourself off from protection, support, and opportunities. You become invisible. And invisible people are the easiest to destroy, not because they're weak, but because no one notices when they're attacked. No one defends what they cannot see. You might be the smartest person in the room, but if you're always quiet, always distant, people stop seeing you as a presence and start seeing you as a shadow. And in a world run by perception, shadows are forgotten. This is the hidden weakness of the intuitive introvert. Not their depth, not their emotion, but their belief that silence and solitude will save them. The truth? Those who walk alone don't just miss betrayal, they miss the chance to be powerful. Morality without power is suicide. You've been told your whole life that being good is enough. That if you stay honest, kind, and true to your values, the world will reward you. But Machiavelli would laugh at that idea. Because in the real world, morality without power doesn't protect you, it destroys you. When you show honesty without strength, people see naivety. When you lead with kindness but no strategy, they see weakness. And when you refuse to play the game, they play it around you and use you as a piece in their plan. History is full of idealists who were silenced, exiled, or erased because they refused to adapt. Not because they were wrong, but because they had no power to defend what they believed. The truth is, being good is not enough. You have to be smart too. You have to be strategic. You have to protect your values, not just carry them. Otherwise, those values become a glowing target for the ruthless. Power doesn't reward purity. It rewards presence. And if you can't protect your position, someone else will take it from you, no matter how good your heart is. Insight is not influence. You might think your ability to see the truth gives you power, but that's not how the world works. Insight means nothing if it isn't used. You can predict someone's moves, read between the lines, understand what's really happening behind closed doors, but if you don't speak, if you don't act, then none of it matters. People won't follow what you understand. They'll follow what they can see. And silence, when it goes on too long, doesn't look wise. It looks weak. It sends a message that you're unsure, afraid, or waiting for someone else to lead. Meanwhile, people with less knowledge, less insight, and less depth take control, not because they're right, but because they show up. They speak, they move, they make decisions, and the world notices them. This is the painful truth. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards presence. Your insight might be sharper than anyone's, but if you keep it hidden, it's no different than ignorance. You must show up, speak up, and act, because otherwise your mind becomes your prison, not your power. Sensitivity is not weakness. Unless you waste it, you've probably been told that you're too sensitive, that you overthink, feel too deeply, and take things too personally. But what if all those things people call weakness are actually signs of hidden power? You notice what others ignore. You feel when something is off before it's even spoken. You can sense fear behind confidence and detect lies hidden in smiles. That's not softness. That's sharpness. That's pattern recognition. That's tactical awareness. But here's the problem. If you don't use it, it turns against you. If you just feel everything and say nothing, if you see the truth and never act, that sensitivity starts to drain you instead of empowering you. You become overwhelmed, paralyzed by your own awareness. And while you sit still, the manipulators move. They lie. They lead. They win. Not because they're better, but because they're willing to act. Your ability to sense deeply is a gift, but it only becomes power when you wield it, not when you hide from it. Sensitivity becomes strength when you use it with strategy. That's when people start to listen, not because you're loud, but because your words hit exactly when and where they should. Machiavellian strategy for the introvert. Machiavelli never said you have to become fake, loud, or ruthless to survive, but he did believe that you must be strategic. As an intuitive introvert, your strength isn't in pretending to be someone else. It's in learning how to use who you already are with precision. Withdraw, but do it with purpose, not as your default setting. Speak, but do it when your words will hit the hardest. Be silent, but never passive. You don't need to give up your values to gain influence. You just need to protect them with presence. Strategy doesn't mean manipulation. It means moving wisely, understanding timing, and knowing that power doesn't come from purity alone. It comes from awareness plus action. You already have the awareness. What's been missing is your movement. You've got the mind of a leader, but the world won't follow you until you stand where they can see you. This is how you protect your values in a world that often destroys them, not by stepping away from the game, but by learning to play it without losing yourself. Final challenge. Will you remain silent? So now the question is no longer, are you one of them? The real question is, will you stay in the shadows of your own potential, or will you finally step into the light and lead? You've spent your life being told to stay quiet, stay kind, stay unseen. But the truth is, the world doesn't reward quiet brilliance. It rewards visible strength. Machiavelli would whisper this into your ear. Do not betray your nature, but do not let it destroy you either. Wisdom without action is useless. Morality without protection is dangerous, and sensitivity without strategy is surrender. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become as dangerous as yourself. Your insight is rare, your instincts are sharp, your depth is real, but none of it matters unless the world can see it, feel it, and follow it. Don't wait to be invited. Don't hope to be noticed. Take your place. Not through force, but through calculated presence. You were born to lead, but only if you stop hiding and start commanding. The world needs your voice, but it only follows your movement.